unresolved conflict. You know, in a lot of families, the way conflict is handled, usually the male, I'm not going to argue, I'm through. You know, we just go into our cocoon, we go into our shell. We're not going to argue. Just go ahead, you have your problem, I'm not going to get with it. And a lot of marriages, when there's unresolved conflict, you know, they're in the ring together and they're boxing, and finally the husband goes in his corner, and the wife goes in her corner, and they stay in their corner. You live your life, I live my life, and they never do really relate until they come in the middle of the ring, exchange a few blows now and then they go back in their corner. Am I speaking to anybody? What should happen? 2 Corinthians 5:18 says, we are reconciled with God. Jesus Christ gets you and me right with God. Isn't that terrific? And therefore, because we get right with God, then we are to be in the business of reconciliation. What needs to happen to this man or woman in the corner? They need to say, oh God, revive my marriage, my heart. And they need to see where their involvement in silence or whatever the situation, and get right with God on their knees, and then get up and go and walk in the middle of the ring. If necessary, walk on the other side of the ring and try to find mutual reconciliation. There'll be conflicts. We've got to know how to resolve those conflicts in marriage. And the way to do it is not to bury it and cover it up and push it down. This is what happens. And a way to handle some of these conflicts. What are the conflicts over? Children, money, sex, schedule. I mean, a lot of things. A lot of things conflict. And how do we avoid some of that? Ephesians 4. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Man, don't go to sleep until you begin to talk, begin to get your hearts and lives together. Now, you have to stay up late a lot of nights. Joe Beth and I have. Don't go to sleep. Don't let the sun go down your wrath. When you let the sun, your heart is bruised over a conflict. One mate is bruised. You sleep on it the next morning, that bruised heart becomes a cold heart. You know how that is. You're nice, but you're just too nice. You know, cold. Don't look so pious. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Every married person. It's a bruised heart. You spend the night with that, it becomes a cold heart. You stay with it a week or so, it becomes a hard heart. Now you've intensified the problem. You stay longer than that, it becomes an apathetic heart. By the way, when a couple comes and they're fighting and arguing, that's an encouragement. It's when they come and they're apathetic. They say, you know, I don't really care. I'm just, I don't, it doesn't matter. Whatever she does, whatever he does, make no difference. Huh? You see, that's when the Holy Spirit really has to do a work. So a lot of unresolved conflict when someone can be with someone else and there's not conflict, no matter what the situation, and there can be intimacy there, there can be sharing there. All of a sudden they end up in bed. It's because they go home and there's so much conflict there. You got to deal with it. Bring it out in the open. Turn the lights on.